dead heat. I think we've got a dead heat.
This is going to work off the wheelie again.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that Corvette is fast.
Look at how many cars are trying to go through here. They're 3 wide coming through. Squiddy's got fed out into the wall. They're 2 wide coming up through the cutting.
Oh, he's making a move on Viking Racer now into the dipper and does it. He's caught around the outside into the dipper. What a move.
Oh, he runs a little bit wide. He's on the grass.
Keep it clean. Come on, Oil, bring it home. It's
Showman's got the run.
Stand finish. Who's got to get it? Showman's got it. Oh, he's just taken out the win on the
Side down the hill. Captain's got his nose in front just barely. Oh, he has full trust in him. They're still side by side. Captain takes the position around the outside down the hill.
Around the outside.
Oh my goodness.
We're going to have 3 wide. Adam's going wide. Adam's going deep on the brakes under Rexy. Gets the pass done. Goes Adam from
Fourth to first.
What a move.
Hey guys, and welcome to Wheel to Wheel. This is Division 1 and we are in the Deep South in Georgia at Road Atlanta, and we are set for the first Enduro for the second half of the season in the Red Bull Juniors. Joining me in the commentary box this week is Madrisky. How you going, Mids?
G'day Viper, it's great to be back. It's been a while since I've been on comms, but looking forward to another comms on a great track.
Yeah, this one's going to be special. And joining us also on visuals is Captain Lowside. How you going, Captain?
I'm doing fantastic, thank you, Viper. Great to have Mid back in the comms box as well. I think we've got a fairly dulcet tone mix-up for our commentary tonight, so viewers will be pleased.
The golden tonsils are back and much appreciated, that is for sure. It's this week, it's 44 laps around Road Atlanta in the Red Bull Juniors. And this one's going to be really interesting. We were talking about it pre-stream that consistency is going to be the key to this race. It's who can make the least mistakes, and I think he's going to have a chance of a really good result here.
Spot on there, Viper. It's a twisty, high-speed track, and these cars unfortunately take a couple of seconds to get up to speed. So any mistakes, or if you come off the track, then you're going to be severely disadvantaged somewhere mid-pack or towards the back. So yeah, the key, as you said, consistency. Keep the car on the track and keep it fast.
Yeah, slow is smooth, smooth is fast. That's what they say. So let's see how they get on. We've got a 10-minute qualifying session for this race and a 44-lap race with all tyres being mandatory. It means two pit stops minimum, and that's going to definitely throw some different strategies out there, and we are going to be looking at different tyres at different times, and drivers are going to be on different strategies, which is going to make the race super interesting and a lot of fun.
That's right. There will be a level of strategy because some of the guys may be able to fuel save and get through without any kind of fuel, but highly likely that if there's going to be any kind of competition on the track, then people are going to burn that little bit extra fuel. So yeah, as you said, all 3 tyre compounds are required, so it'll be interesting to see who puts the hards on first or last.
But now that we've gone through the pleasantries, I think it's about time to get these guys kicked off, and I reckon we should get qualifying underway.
Sounds like a fantastic idea. All for it. On that note of qualifying, who do you think's going to take out top spot? Last week saw a myriad of different race leaders and qualifying top end of town as well. It's really great to see the top end town being Div 1 quite shaken up by a few drivers recently.
Yeah, I think the mainstays are going to be there. Apex is going to be up there, and Goat are going to be up there. But my hot tip, I think, this week is Flossie. He has been super fast in practice, and I've seen some really fast lap times out of him this week. So let's keep an eye on the Floss man and see how he goes.
And if I had to pick an underdog, I'm looking at CJS Pup at the moment. He's pumping out some Div 1 times with competing with these boys, so I will not be surprised if that guy puts it to the Div 1 guys and picks up his game and definitely has a bit of competition with these guys, but he's looking pretty quick as well. But you did right there, Captain Viper. There seems to be at least a handful of guys here that are looking pretty close together. There's only a couple of tenths off each of the guys. It'll be interesting to see who can pull off a clean qualifying lap and get themselves on the front row.
I think the other thing about this car too that I think a lot of the guys in the league are enjoying is that the controller guys seem to have a bit more of an even playing field. It doesn't wear tyres anywhere near as quickly as the Group 3 cars do, which puts the controller guys at a bit more of an even playing field. So don't forget about guys like Tombo and Corbin as well. Those guys could definitely throw a surprise out.
Yeah, well, Corbin was definitely one of those guys that was up in the top 5 with his pace, so yeah, definitely not surprised there, and Tombo was right with him as well. Now, just to recap, all 3 tyre compounds are going to be required. We're going to see, I think, the majority of the drivers stay out on the softs for probably about 90% of the race. As we mentioned before, we expect most drivers only to stay on the hards for 1 lap, but it'll be interesting to see how many drivers choose to stay on the mediums for 2 or more laps, depending on where they are in the race and how they've performed. So it will be interesting. Strategy is going to have a bit of a role to play.
Yeah, I think we should take a bit of a wander through the field as they start to get the lap times in. Bringing up the lead at the moment is Dale Teeks, driving for AMS Excavation and Showman followed closely behind him, driving for the Scuderia Quadrifoglio team.
Next up is Flossie. Now, I'm pretty sure that Flossie's joined Div 1 still as a privateer, so no sponsor for him. He's coming in as a privateer. Then right behind him, we've got Tombo with on the Hybrid Ag Drive 25 Sim Sports.
We've got CS Pup in 5th place here. He's filling in for Squiddy this week in the AMS Excavations car, followed by CP Motorsports and the Division 1 Championship leader, PLE Goat.
And right behind Goat, we've got CCH, also Hybrid Ag Drive 25. And then right behind him, a teammate of mine, we've got Seckers in the Scuderia Quadrifoglio racing team. As the order just gets a little bit messed up there, and then we've got Showman following there for Scuderia Quadrifoglio and CRR Super Dragon in there for Team Dodgy Racing. And right after Dragon, we've got Scooter 82. Scooter's part of... Oh no, Scooter's a privateer, so also no sponsor, getting around on his own. I think that's everyone. I don't think we missed anyone. Oh, yes, we did. We missed Apex. Apex Humper. Yeah, and Zuzu. Yeah, just as the times came in and the order got a little bit messed up, so apologies for that. So Apex Humper here in 5th place, driving for Drive 25 Sim Sport, and we have Zuzu driving for Scuderia Quadrifoglio. No, he's in the Future Sports. Future Studios Motorsport. Beautiful. So that's the field, and it looks like Corbin's leading the field with the first hot lap there with a 120 flat. Expect them to knock about a second off that by the end of qualifying. We'll have to see how things progress. That's exactly right. Between the top 4, there's only 2 tenths in it at the moment, or just under 2 tenths, 4 tenths actually. But as you mentioned before, the guys in the controllers don't seem to be disadvantaged too much. CCH being right at the top there, and I expect Tombo will probably start to creep towards the front end as well. Yeah, we see Zuzu there jump into the pits. I thought they might do this with a 10-minute quali. I'm not sure if there's much of an advantage to it with how little tyre wear there is on this car, but I thought some people might jump into the pits after the first hot lap to get a bit of clean track and run a fresh set of tyres. So, but we'll see. So I'm on board with Zuzu, and he doesn't look to be moving at all. He's just sitting in the pit lane at the moment, so I don't know. Definitely not waiting for clear space. All the cars have passed him now, so I'm not quite sure what Zuzu's doing. Maybe he's having a bit of a break there, but he's got himself a clear position. Might have had a toilet emergency or something, and just jump out of the car, run to the Portaloo, get back in the car.
He's got a banker lap on the podium. He's calling that good enough, and just let everyone else run the course. Right. But no, we unfortunately have seen some hardware issues and even some internet issues recently. So hopefully he hasn't got to deal with some hardware issues and yeah, gets back out on track for race start.
That's
Corbin
right.
jumps into the pit lane.
And just as Corbin jumps into the pit lane, previous lap Goat was in a 19.7, and he's come around in his last lap as a 19.6. So he's just getting faster and faster, and he's put himself a good 1.5 tenths in front of the competition at the moment.
Yeah, this he goes purple through sector 1 again, but these times are, I mean, I know these guys can do 19 ones and 19 flats, so track may take a little time. This time of day setting I think is a little bit on the greasy side, so we may not see those really fast times in qualifying.
And Zuzu's just coming out of the pits now. He came out previously and just touched his wheels across the line, got himself a 3-second penalty, came back into the pits, and he's on his way out again. So he's got, I don't know what the time left is.
Oh, that's a bit cheeky. I'm not sure if that's allowed. We might have to let the stewards do the investigating on that one. I didn't think once you got a penalty you weren't allowed to go back to pits and reset.
Yeah, I'm not sure he had to do that because he would have burnt it on the back straight, so he would have been right for his on the out.
Yeah.
So on the flyer he would have been fine. There was no need to. So he's cost himself a couple of seconds there coming back in again.
You're right though, Viper. It is a little bit of a turn your nose up event if you do quit back to the pits, and it's seemingly less of an issue these days. The GT7 lobbies are a little bit more favourable in their stability these days, so it doesn't make as much of an effect. We're still seeing a flurry of quicker times come in, so normally when you quit back out it gives just that little bit of lag, and when the entire field is as close as they are, pretty much everyone's split by a tenth or less. That can and has made all the difference. So, but seemingly not too much of an issue. On board with Flossie at the moment as he's gone purple through sector 2.
Yeah, keep an eye on Flossie. The big talking point I think so far is Apex. All the way down in 8th, half a second off the pace. This is very unlike him. Not sure if he's just trying to lower the fuel load a little bit or just waiting for those last couple of laps, but he is definitely not showing the express pace that we expect from Apex that he's shown in the past.
Yeah, and I have to say as well is that CJ Pup is not performing quite as well as I saw him in practice, nor is Showman, unfortunately. He was definitely in the 19s. He doesn't seem to be able to get his times. He's just about to break the 120. He's not there at the moment. There wouldn't be too much time left, but at the moment we're looking at the first 5 guys are all sitting in the 19s, and there's only 3 tenths separating the top 5 at the moment.
And surprise, surprise, just like that, Apex knew he was being talked about and has placed it on the front row.
There you go. He was just foxing. He was just playing possum there, just getting the fuel load light.
Just making us sweat.
Yeah, just, you know,
Corbin's
just wanted to get on
come
stream. That's all it was. It's just like,
Corbin.
I know what I'll do. I'll just sandbag it for the first 3 laps until they talk about me, and then bang a fast one out.
Corbin's just come off the track at turn 1 off the pit straight and slowly picking up speed, but I hazard a guess from the pace he's going at the moment time could be running out, and he realises he probably won't get another lap in.
Yeah, Zoo's pulled the pin. That's all we're going to see from Zuzu. His Goat goes across the line in 19.8, so it doesn't improve. He might get another lap in if he hustles.
Tombo just about to come across the line at the moment. Is he going to better his time? And he does just.
Where does that place Tombo? 9th. There we go.
9th, yeah.
So
Dale,
top 10 by half a second. Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy stuff. And looking at the guys that made up the back half of the top 10, they were only just a 10th off getting into the 19s. But most of those guys, from what I saw in practice, were doing 19s. So it's going to be pretty tight racing. The only problem with this track is due to the ups and downs of the track. If you're too close to the car in front, it's going to be pretty hard to see the apex or the turning point. And especially if they're in a line, then the guys further behind are going to have to realise they're going to have to back off just that touch earlier. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not we get through unscathed, because these are pretty high-speed, flowy track.
The first couple of laps are going to be very interesting too. That through the S's there, everyone in a group, a long race. We hope that common sense prevails, but when the red mist comes down, you never know what might happen with all those cars so close together.
Yeah, Viper, and where do you think, where's the best opportunity to pass? I mean, there's about 60-70% of the track where everyone's doing pretty close to the same pace, so it's going to be hard to gain any kind of advantage through most of the track.
The braking zone into the last chicane is probably the best opportunity, and then you can also pass into the braking zone into the hairpin at the bottom of the track, but yeah, it's all about giving each other some space. I mean, overtakes can happen anywhere if the drivers are, aware of what's going on around them. But it's whether they want to give the space or not. That's the key to that. But that heavy braking zone into the last chicane is definitely probably the best opportunity.
So we're not far off the start. It's we're about to go. There's a couple of seconds left. And who are we going to start with, guys?
Maybe Flossie?
Yeah, second or third row, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Quick shout out to everyone in chat as well. I can see a few regular names up there as well. Herbs, Gimp, Dodgy, Stefco, and Hey Joe. Don't know who Hey Joe is, but Hey Joe.
And the lights are on. And we're off and racing at Road Atlanta, and as we all get away, everyone seems to be getting away quite cleanly here. Goat pulls to the front, Flossie's slotted into 4th place there, and we've got a little bit of push and shove back in the pack, but everyone seems to have gotten through the first turn nice and cleanly.
So he's got himself a little bit of a touch as they go through turn 1, and he's out on the grass. He's rejoined again, but unfortunately it's cost him some time. CJ Cup there, small touch with Dragon. Dragon's off the track now. Bit of chaos towards the back of the track there.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. Everyone was looking good there for the first little while, but it's the start of these races can be a bit hectic. It says Goat comes down into the braking zone into the hairpin at the bottom of the track. He's followed there by Apex. Now these two guys have been battling all season for the division championship, for the wheel-to-wheel championship in Division 1, so hostilities resumed at the front of the pack, and these guys will not want to give up a place to each other, so this should be some good racing.
Yeah, so we've got the first, or the top 7 of the guys only 2 seconds apart, and then we've got about a 1.4 second break back to Tombo, and then about the same back to Pup, and right on the back of Pup is Dale.
Tombo's going to dive for the pits here. He's on hards. Just make sure he doesn't get a penalty getting into that pit lane. That's a very tricky pit lane entry, this one.
Probably with him, Dale with him. Scooter goes around, and Dragon, was it Dragon? No, there's only Tombo, Pup and Dale and Dragon have all come in.
See what these guys change onto.
Which is what you'd expect from the guys at the back. There's no point in using your softs from the back of the pack. These guys have come in early onto the softs. They've got clear track now. They don't have to worry about any kind of major racing with multiple cars. There's only 4 of them now, so we'll see how far apart they come out of the pits.
Big advantage for Tombo here is he swapped onto softs, mediums for Dragon, but Tombo's got the clean air here, and he'll be able to make some really fast lap times in clean air, and big advantage for him being at the front of the pack.
Yeah, and Dragon coming out on mediums, it's a bit of a surprise to me there. I would have expected he would have done the softs, so what do you think his strategy is to come in straight off the next lap?
No, I think he might do a few laps on mediums to get to his fuel window, and then stop when he can confidently put his enough fuel in to get to the end. So
okay, all right.
I think he might do a few laps on mediums.
Right, so a set of softs will last that length of time. I knew these cars were great on fuel. I didn't think they were necessarily that good on fuel. Sorry,
they're not that. Tyres, yeah. I mean, the softs will last 30 laps. Like,
yeah, wow.
Yeah,
So
I expect Viper, we might see a couple of the guys push them out to 35, potentially 40 laps.
yeah, possibly. If they
yeah.
can save enough tyre, they definitely can.
Yeah, and the tyres really, it's not the right-hand side of the problem, it's the rear left and the front left are the ones that really start to wear because of the course. So they're the ones that get most of the damage.
Yeah, for the first turn here is a very, very high speed fourth gear corner. Puts all the pressure on the left-hand side tyres. It just kills those tyres as you go around that first turn.
So once again, the top 7 still within 3.7 seconds of each other.
Oh, Scooter's hustling Apex here into the chicane.
Apex takes a defensive line. Oh, and gets a small touch there by Scooter.
It's going to help Flossie.
Might have even helped Apex actually. It pushed him a little closer to
pushed him a little closer. Yeah. It's the top 4 guys are all within 2/10 of each other, and then there's a second back to Seckers and Showman in the Scooter rear quadrifolio cars, and then a second and a half back to Corbin, and then Zoo running on mediums. So he's doing his medium stint first. So I would assume he's probably going to do 4 or 5, maybe 6 laps, and then dump those for the hard, and then finish on softs, I would imagine.
Yeah, that sounds like a logical progression. Yeah.
It's we'll have to wait and see when he pulls the trigger on the pit stop. I would assume it probably won't be very long.
So on that note, gentlemen, can we have a run through the field at the moment? I don't have the data handy, but the top 4 to maybe even top 7, are they all on softs? Are they all running their quickest tyre?
Yeah, so all the way down to Zoo. Yeah, so the top 7 are all on softs, and then Zoo's mediums. Tombo and then 9th through to the rest of the field have all done their hard stint, and they're on a combination of softs and mediums for their second stint.
So quick update, something must have happened to Scooter because Flossie's gone past him, and Scooter is now 2 seconds off the top 3 guys. He may have had an incident there, and his lap time for the last lap was at 23.7, so he seems as though he had a small mistake, and that's exactly what we were talking about earlier. The smallest mistake will cost you seconds that you may not be able to make up if the guys are running the same sort of lap time. So he finds himself now 2 seconds off, so he's oh no, and who was that just went off? Is that Apex? It is.
Yep.
Straight off. Wow, and he gets a small touch there from Showman, unfortunately, as Showman had nowhere to go as he came out of that corner.
I was going to see if I can pull up a replay of Apex here. Yep, he's gone and just taken a little bit of curb through the sweepers here, and that's just speared him into the wall, and that's all she wrote. Lost multiple positions, and yeah, just got a tap from Showman on the re-entry there. So unfortunate little mistake, like we say, and that's all it takes.
Yeah, but he's done the right thing there. He's moved aside and he's redressed and provided, or given Showman back that position because he's come back on the track on the racing line. So that's great sportsmanship.
He is together with his teammate, which might help him there. If those guys can work together, they might be able to fuel save and draft and bump and get themselves back up a little bit further up the field. So that's, I mean, it's a bad situation for Apex, but it's not the worst situation in the world that he's found himself nose to tail with a teammate.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. Concentration and driver skill for the full hour, 44 laps, is going to be paramount here. It's the it's going to be the trick to making sure that you can maintain your position and find yourself up the top end.
Goats had an interesting lap on his last lap. He's about a second off of his normal time. He's done a 21.0, and that's brought Flossie right onto his tail. So interesting to see. There might have been a slight mistake, or maybe a penalty of some description that we missed. But yeah, it's definitely
wild on the exit. Sorry there, Viper. We just caught Flossie in the background of the shot with Goat there, and yeah, he's getting a little bit wild on exit. So as slow as these cars might be, they can be a little bit taily at times.
They definitely can. They're pretty light with some decent power in them. So especially on those ripple strips. Some of them you can ride, but the moment you get on the power and your wheels on the ripple strip, then it's say goodbye. You have no control of where the car will end up.
Flossie is right under the rear wing of Goat now, pushing very, very hard.
Yeah, so the top 4 now are a second apart. Seca's making up the top 4, Scooter, Flossie and Goat right at the front. But the field's starting to close with the guys behind. I think Goat, whereas in previous races he's got himself a nice early lead, I'm not quite sure that that's going to be... It's still early days, only 7 laps in. But at the moment everyone seems to be running pretty similar lap times, and it's going to be hard for anyone to get away.
Yeah, it's all going to come down to the pit stops, I think, and it's going to see... I mean, Goat may have just been saving a little bit of fuel for a couple of laps to try and shorten his pit stop when he stops, so you never know.
He definitely has the most fuel out of the top 5 guys at the moment, even just by a fraction, but it could be enough to pull himself out a 1.5 second lead as they come out of the pits whenever they decide to.
So, I have to go back and see what Zoo. How many laps is so? Zoo's on 77th lap on mediums. Corbin must have had an incident because he's dropped right back.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that as well, and I'm looking at his lap times, and there doesn't seem to be anything to suggest in the lap times that he's had an incident, so I don't know how he's lost that much pace.
He might have had
especially 7 seconds to Apex when they were nose to tail not too long ago.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait to see how he crosses the line on this lap, and I think it's this lap he's had the incident on. He's about to come across with 27.
So 27, yeah, it's definitely. But Zoo is Zoo's going to be in an interesting position. See what he does. Whether he does softs or hards next, but I would assume he'd probably do a hard stop. Probably this lap, I would imagine. Don't think he'd want to run more than 8 or 9 laps on the mediums. Just got to get to where you can put enough fuel in to be able to get home. So we'll have to wait and see. But I would assume he's probably going to stop this lap or next lap, put the hards on, go around, 1 more lap, come back in, fuel up, and then run softs to the end. But we'll have to wait and see.
So I'm just keeping an eye on the guys at the back, starting with Tombo in 9th, then we've got Pup in 10th, Dragon in 11th, and Dale in 12th. And Dale's had 2 very, very bad laps, a 136 and a 130, so unfortunately, and he, just as I've given him the commentator's curse there, he's gone straight into the wall at turn 1.
Yeah, that was a big impact too, so unfortunate for Dale there. He's just not able to hold it together. Seemingly maybe having
that's going to be a penalty.
Or if it's a bit of an issue getting back on track, who knows. Who was that off in the background as well? Might have been Corbin or Apex.
Zoo has stopped, but I think he's probably going to get a 3-second penalty. It looked like he crossed that line on pit entry, so I would expect to see a big red 3-second penalty come across the top of his car when he pulls out.
And Dale looks like he's decided to hang up the boots. Unfortunately, after being lapped by the field there, he decided it may not be worthwhile to continue with the race. That's unfortunate for Dale. But as we mentioned before, it's the smallest mistake that can cost you the whole race.
And I was correct. That is a 3-second penalty. But
sorry, we have Flossie challenging for the lead coming into the chicane here. I thought Flossie was going to hang behind Goat for a fair while, but he's got it done under the braking zone, and yeah, gets a clean overtake done.
Not only him, Seca's on the same corner did Scooter, so we've had 2 positions change in the top 4.
Oh, there we go. Let's see if I can bring up the overtake with Seca's and Scooter. I'm going to have to redo that one and go slightly further back. There we go. So yeah, pretty much textbook move for first and third there. So Seca's under brakes is just able to go side by side with Scooter, and he has the optimum line, gets the block on through the second half of the chicane, and yeah, calls it job done. Very nicely overtaken there.
So yep, Goat finds himself now in second position, and just going to quickly have a look at the guys' tyres. And Flossie and Goat look pretty good. Seca's is a little bit more worn than those guys.
I think Goat might be playing the fuel strategy game here. He is definitely better off than the cars around him, so
and
might be just trying to save a little bit of fuel.
After being passed by Sekis, Scooter has had a moment somewhere on the front half of the track, and Showman's gone past him as well. He's now 1.7 seconds behind Showman, so he must have a little bit of an off in the S's maybe. But
Corbin with a 1.5 second penalty there to that lap, so that's not ideal.
Yeah, that's the problem with some of these corners, isn't it? It's a fine line between getting race pace and getting a penalty.
As Goat is right on the back of Flossie there now as well.
Yeah, I was just looking with that Scooter as well, and yeah, he was 2.6 seconds down on that sector split, so yeah, didn't have a great lap or had a bad moment, as you say, mid.
Yeah, I think it'd have to be somewhere in these S's. 1.7 seconds doesn't seem to suggest that he's hit a wall or anything like that or gone into the sand, but it would have been enough probably just to roll off onto the grass and get his car back on, so that's where it may have happened, yep.
So I really enjoy watching the gaps between some of these drivers. Goat may be playing a bit of a fuel game here, a bit of the longer strategy. We're barely a quarter of the way through this race, and he's just being able to manage the gap at about 0.8. It is ever so slightly increasing, but it's great to watch it where it shrinks and expands and see what sections of the track each driver is better at. And as we see now, it's just dropped into the 0.7 again.
Well,
Sekis with a big dive. Can he pull it up? Just barely pulls it up into the S's.
Over and under. Goat's got the run here. Can he keep it? He may get him on the straight. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe he just had to ease off there a little bit because he didn't have the space to get around Sekis, and that may have been enough to let Sekis drive off.
That was a great, clean move by Sekis there. That's impressive.
That let Flossie pull a gap there. He's out to a second lead. So these guys better hustle on. They don't want to let this guy get out in clean air and drive off, because he will be very, very difficult to catch.
Apex still staying on the back of the tail, is still 3.5 seconds off Scooter, but he hasn't lost that pack. He can still make himself competitive depending on how the pit strategies all sort of pan out. And that's the other thing as well, is that we are now on lap 12. It'll be very interesting when we get to the back half of the race to see how the guys at the back, starting with Tombo, Pup, Dragon and Zoo, has now found himself right at the back of the pack. So on those mediums, he's gone for a few more laps than I expected on those mediums.
Just looking at Tombo's lap times here quickly, since lap 3 he's done a 120 every lap.
Wow.
So super consistent.
And they're all low 120s bar maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah,
wow.
There's so this is the advantage of stopping and getting the clean air, is you don't get jostled, you don't have to worry about other people, you can just get in a rhythm and do your thing. And with guys up the front doing 20s, 21s,
this is where the race is. I fully agree.
Absolutely.
Even if I started towards the front, I would probably start on mediums or hards or a slower tyre, just to get that clean air as soon as you pit, and you can also hold people up right at that early stage of the race. So Tombo, I honestly think he's in a great spot. Yes, he's 8th place, 28 seconds off the lead, but that could easily be a pit stop, and if he keeps cranking out low 20s, he could be a dark horse here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he could even pop into the 19s when the fuel load lightens a bit, and he's going to be super competitive at the end of this race. So just one to watch there for later in the race.
Meanwhile, up at the front, we've got Goat trying to make a comeback on Sekis. He's got the inside line, and Sekis is going to give it to him. Goat regains second position, and Flossie has now blown himself out to nearly a 1.5 second lead.
I think Goat has going to have to give up on the fuel saving strategy now, because Flossie has shot a warning shot across the bow with a 1:19.6.
Oh, Sekis with a good run into turn 1. Side by side, my goodness. We were absolutely holding our breath. We went silent on the radio waves for a sec.
That's adventurous through there. That's
yeah, that's definitely not a.
There might be some more to say about that one, I think.
Yeah, I have to agree there. There was just a small touch that unfortunately unsettled Goat's car and sent him off in the grass. Had it been anyone else of the 100 drivers in wheel to wheel, I think we would have seen somebody go into the wall there.
I was watching the telemetry there. He had to get completely off the throttle. There was 0 throttle applied. He had to basically roll through that corner to stop it getting out on the grass.
And it's impressive to actually hit the ripple strip and even a touch of grass and still keep it in a straight line or pointed where it wants to go.
Right.
So
yeah, that ripple strip just sucks you off into oblivion there if you get too much of it. So it's,
unfortunately, what it has done is it's now brought Showman into range, and Goat takes inside line, and
I almost thought Showman would be able to hold it around the outside for a second there. It was looking good, but yeah, Goat just went defensive and had that little extra length under braking, held out third place.
So Goat's been forced to earn his butter in this race at the moment. Everyone's showing relatively similar speeds in the top 5, and Goat hasn't been able to pull away, and it just looks like, oh no, and what's happened there? Flossie's lost a bit of pace now, and right on him is Seckers.
Yeah, I think he's had a bit of a moment into turn 1 there. He will maybe run a little wide, but still looking at Goat's fuel, he's significantly better than everyone else around him. So this could
Seckers
just be
for the lead.
Yeah,
not only that, we've also got Scooter right on the back of Showman now as well, and lo and behold, Apex is now only 5 seconds off this pack.
Yeah, wow.
Sorry, he's only just under 3 seconds off Scooter, but 5 seconds from the lead.
Goat is now right on the back of Flossie as well.
And it really just shows how quickly this game can change. And barely 2 laps ago, we saw Goat a lot further back, and Flossie 2.5 seconds in the lead. And now we're back to top 4 within a second of each other, top 3 within 3/10. Like it's impressive.
So guys, I don't know if that's the 3rd or the 4th lead change we've had, but now Flossie right on the back of Seckers as they come out of the pit straight. Seckers takes the inside line, moves across. Goat closes right up. It's 3 of them, nose to tail.
Wow.
It's just exceptional.
Yeah.
Exceptional car control and discipline with these guys. Like, they can race nose to tail like this in these cars on this track and still be clean is very impressive.
And a quick update at the back. Scooter has gone past Showman for 4th position as he now starts to close the gap to the top 3, and the gap is closing. Apex now 4.7 off the lead. And
Tombo still like a metronome in 8th place, pumping out 120s for fun. Still hasn't dropped out of the 120s. Yeah, keep an eye on him for later in the race.
And I think this is so advantageous for Tombo. He doesn't have to worry about anyone. He's got 11 seconds behind him. He's got 8 seconds in front of him. All he has to do is just focus on the road, concentrate, and just be consistent, which is exactly what he's doing. Yep. And this may pay benefits when those pit strategies come out, because those times.
Seckers has spun. Seckers has dumped it in the wall. I'm not sure if he got touched or not, but it's that's a big mistake.
I'm going to bring that up as a replay real quick, see where we are. So Seckers in first place coming into the chicane. He has seemingly made it well through so far. He gets just a little bit wild on exit with some power on oversteer. Takes the curb, and then that just spits him into the wall right on the bridge there. So unfortunate, but that is a self-made incident that has taken him from 1st to 6th, and yeah, 8-9 seconds off the lead.
That's very unfortunate, and as we spoke about it earlier, is the smallest mistake can have the most devastating of consequences, and 8 seconds off the front is a mean feat to make up if the guys at the front don't make any mistakes and keep their car on the track.
I mean, honestly, the way this race has unfolded, I wouldn't be surprised to see Seckers back up with this lead back in about 2 laps.
That's true.
Yeah, the problem he has is, but he's on the same strategy as the guys in front of him, so there's no way for him to make up like with an alternate pit strategy or anything like that. So it's going to have to be pure pace that gets him back to the top, or a mistake.
So put that back into context for Tombo. All the guys at the front at the moment have had moments where they've lost a good 2, 3, 4 seconds, And Tombo is, once again, is going to be the one that benefits from all this fighting and mistakes happening at the front. So I think he's sitting in an unbelievably good position at the moment. He may not know that, possibly not, given that he's so far back. He can't see what's happening.
He's just on a 119.9.
There it is.
So he's as the fuel load lightens, he's getting faster. So.
And Tombo is a very smart and well. He has a great situational awareness of where he is on track, and the number that he would be watching. Forget about Corbin or whoever is in front of him. 24 seconds. 2 laps ago, that was 28. So he knows that there is battling. He knows that there is a change for the lead. He can see first, second, and third. If that 24 seconds just keeps dropping, he is in a better and better place.
Yep, Kevin, I was just about to say the same thing. If he keeps his eye on how far he is off the pole sitter or the front runner at the moment, he'll see that continually dropping. So he knows he's in a pretty good position at the moment. So all he has to do is just concentrate, keep going. There'll still be about, I'd say, around 19, 20 laps before we see the strategies come out to play to see where he actually ends up. 2 more pit stops for the guys at the front, 1 more for Tombo. But I think
Goat and Flossie are at it again.
But just like Tombo's putting in clockwork, the guys at the front of the pack are doing exactly the same.
Yeah, but this is... Again, they're coming up to a back marker as well, so they're coming up to Dragon here as well, which could cause some issues if they catch him in a bad spot. That could definitely slow them down and bring Scooter and Showman back into the fold as well.
And once again, I'm going to quickly focus on Apex. His last 9 laps have been from a 119.8 to a 120.2. So he hasn't got anything over a 120.2 and a 19.8. So he is definitely on the hammer as well. And closing this gap, he's down to 3.7.
So let's forget about the anomaly of the quickest lap of a 119.8 for a second there. If we're looking at the rest of them, a 20.2, a 20.0, 0.1, 0.1, 0.0, 0.1, 0.1. That is, Tombo's consistent, but Drive 25, what are you guys eating for breakfast?
Yeah, these guys have definitely put in the practice this week. They definitely know how this race is going to be won. It's going to be won by monotony, boring laps that are just one after the other, just keep churning them out.
Yes, and as we said, 1 hour, 44 laps. It is so hard because of the way that the track is set. And Apex, once again, oh no, he's just run himself off. He's keeping it straight. He's got it back on track.
He might get a penalty for that.
No, I think he'll be fine because he was well under speed.
He was well under speed. It can depend on... Oh, that might be a penalty, though, for cutting the sweepers there, or the S's. And yeah, he's dealing with dirty tyres, so he's now...
He's got very dirty tyres now.
And there goes Seckers.
And the commentator's curse is alive and well.
Yeah.
So
I thought we were getting away with it for a while there.
Apologies. Apologies to Apex once again.
I was just about to say that keeping concentration, because it only takes the smallest lapse of concentration for you to find out that you've lost yourself anywhere between 2 seconds to 10, and it's just one of those tracks. For 44 laps, you've got to really be focused on what you're doing.
Dragon's holding these guys up now. He needs to pull to the inside and let them go.
He should be able to button off on the straight here. Until then, there wasn't really much of a... There he goes. Moves off the racing line, lets most of these guys pass. That's a tough spot for Dragon to be in, to try and let multiple cars pass. So didn't upset the running order too much.
No, well done, Dragon.
We'll have to see in the next... what the lap time is the next lap to see how much that's cost those guys catching him in that chicane. But it might play into the hands of guys like Tombo and, previously Apex.
I was just going to draw your attention to Goat's tyres compared to the other guys.
Yeah.
There is chalk and cheese. I don't know how he's managed to do it, but his tyres are looking so much better than the other guys around him.
Yeah, I think he's playing definitely playing a longer game. I think he might try and push these softs out for a few laps longer than the guys around him, and because he's been saving fuel to do that as well. So, but Scooter is controller, I think. So
Actually,
his tyre wear might be a bit of an anomaly.
One thing we can't confirm, I know Scooter won a Logitech wheel and pedal set sometime in recent history, anywhere up to 12 months. So whether he's got the physical space to be able to run them or not is another question. So I can't recall if he is or is not on wheels. So a bit of a
judging
bit
by
of
his
Schrodinger's
tyre
cat.
wear, judging by his tyre wear, I'd say he's probably on controller. Because but Flossie is considerably worse off on tyres too, and fuel. So.
And Apex tyres look probably the worst out of the top 6 at the moment. They're really starting to go, and they're going at a rate that he still needs them to be there into the 30s somewhere. So I'm not quite sure they're going to last that long, but we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, and after that 125.3, he's back down into the low 120s again. So back to boring
Schedule
monotony for
programming.
Apex. Yeah. Let's check on Mr. Consistency, old Tombo there. Yep, still hasn't done anything slower than a 120. So, out there living his best life, just bumping out low 120s for fun. It's really going to lift him up. I reckon he could potentially podium with
He's
this
certainly
consistency.
looking that way.
So
yeah. And for those of you who don't know, for some of the fresher viewers to this channel, Tombo is in a wheelchair, so he's one of a couple of the resident wheelchair drivers in Wheel to Wheel, and he does such a fantastic job week in, week out. He is his own toughest critic and has on multiple occasions said that he doesn't deserve a place in Div 1, but that could not be further from the truth, and this is the perfect demonstration of that.
yeah, there's a couple of words that I could use to describe that thought, and none of them can be done on this stream. Not a more deserving human being in the league to be in Div 1 than Tombo, that is for sure.
Viper, I was going to suggest that we quickly do a wrap of the field before we go to some commercials, being just a little over halfway through. We've got Flossie leading the race at the moment, 0.5 back to Goat, 0.3 back to Scooter, 1 second back to Showman, 5 seconds back to Seckers, 1.1 to Apex, nearly 10 seconds back to CCH, who then has 6 seconds to Tombo. Pup, unfortunately, is 15 seconds off the back of Tombo. Zoo, 10 seconds back from Pup. And sitting in last place is Dragon at the moment with 37 seconds. And, of course, Dale had a bit of an off at the front part of the race and decided to pit it.
So interesting with Dragon there, looking at his lap times, we can just see on lap 14 a minute 49. Has that mean he can now go to the end? Yes, he's been lapped, but has he completed all of his pit stops?
I don't know, because that doesn't say there's no indication of a pit stop. Normally there's a little P and a red, and it's in red, so maybe he's just not a pit stop, maybe he's just had an incident.
Yeah, it'd
but,
be interesting to see how it unravels.
But I don't think anyone's done 2 pit stops yet. But we'll have to wait and see. Maybe. Oh no, he did. No, he did. No, he came out on softs after the first lap. So I think he might have stopped for another set of softs. I'm not sure. It's very confusing.
They do look not very worn at all. Actually, I'm not sure. That could be what he's done there, Viper. Yeah.
Because I'm sure he came out on softs. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Maybe he came out on mediums and has stopped and can go to the end now. But he hasn't. No, his fuel. He won't get there on fuel.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so he has to stop again.
Right on the back of Flossie now as they go into turn 1.
So that's flowing on from what you said before, Mid. That's an interesting note between drivers, especially on the top 3 here. We have Flossie and Scooter, who have worse tyre wear than Goat, and still obviously sticking with. So it's interesting to see what Goat might be playing at. If he's arguably driving at 80, 85%, 90%, whatever it might be. And the other guys have to give it their everything to either stay in front or just hold on to his coattails.
Yeah, looking at his, not only does he have the tyre advantage at the moment, he's also got fuel over the guys behind him and only slightly over Floss in front. So I can't see that anybody, once they pit, is going to be able to get in front, given the fact that they will have to put some fuel in. It'll be wait and see to see whether or not Goat needs to put any in at the moment, because he's fuel saved quite well, but I'm not quite sure that he's got enough there to actually make the end of the race. He may have to put a bit of a splash in.
I would be extremely impressed to see Goat do a 44 lap race without taking any fuel on board.
So he did a 19.9 last lap. He's nearly 0.6 off that time round. While Flossie is 20.3s consistently. So Flossie's still churning out the pace with tyre wear. Yeah.
So it looks like there's a battle going on here. Maybe Dragon is now only just been caught by Seckers, but Seckers and Apex have still maintained that half a second gap. And interestingly enough, Dragon would have blue flags waving in his face this entire time, but not really much of an opportunity for Seckers to get past, so not too much of a speed gap. As soon as I say that, he lets one of them pass, and Apex follows suit.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting when we get to the pit stops, but I think Mids, you might be right. We might see if we can get these sponsors commercials underway. That way when we come back we should be almost ready for pit stops, and then we can see where this all shakes out.
Wonderful idea. We'll be back with everybody in just a short moment.
Scrub again with Easy Clean. Whether it's the shower or bath, grouting, patio, or even the kitchen sink, Easy Clean's advanced surface treatments restore, protect, and seal surfaces, reducing your cleaning time by up to 90%. With their lifetime guarantee, you can restore your surfaced areas to their original sparkling condition with effortless ease. Call 1300 146 136 or visit easyclean.com.au today. That's EZICLEEN.com.au. Easy Clean today for an easier clean tomorrow.
A boss lady. I am sporty,
outdoorsy,
outspoken. I am fashion.
I am old-fashioned.
What I am not
is the same. But none of us are.
We are all individuals with unique interests, needs, and goals.
We believe that everyone should have the right to live the life they want for themselves.
Whether it be exploring the world,
dog walking,
or binge watching their favorite show.
So instead of searching for the things that we do the same,
let's champion the things that set us apart.
Because we're not innovating for disabilities.
We're innovating for individuals.
Hey guys, and welcome back. As we've just had an overtake for the lead into the chicane there, and Goat seems to be putting the hammer down, trying to break the gap there to Flossie. So we're not sure if we can get a replay of that, but we've definitely have had a move to the lead.
So yeah, just caught the replay. Flossie and Goat going side by side into the chicane here. Goat with the inside run. Just a little tap on the apex between Goat and Flossie really put Flossie under pressure by Scooter there on the run down to the start-finish straight. But it looks like status quo will remain between those two, and Flossie will, for the moment, hold out third place.
And Showman now has got himself onto the back of the pack of 3 at the front, and he is under a second behind Scooter at the moment. So we've got an exciting race leading into the final stages with 4 guys well within podium range. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the pits to see where they shake out.
It looks like Goat might be putting the hammer down now and try and break this field wide open. He's out to a almost 7/10 gap, but as we say that, Flossie brings it back down to half a second. So it's really hard to break away in these cars. They're so evenly matched.
Yeah,
Interesting to note, though, it looks like Goat and Flossie are maybe just getting away from Scooter. So maybe Goat helping Flossie along just with a little bit of slipstream there.
Yeah, Scooter's tyres look like they're really starting to suffer. He's going to be starting to lose some lap time compared to the other guys around him.
And I was just going to make the comment, for such a young driver, he's not only fast, but he's also got the wits about him. Like, if he is playing a strategy, sitting behind the guys and just waiting to hit it, now's the time to hit it and get yourself a little bit of a breakout before they come in, given the fact he's got a tyre advantage, he's got a fuel advantage. When he does come out, then he's going to be a good few seconds out in front, and the battling will be happening behind him, and he's going to have clean air and nothing to worry about.
And honestly, exactly that is what I love about longer, more endurance-based races, is that we can see strategy play out. We're not just seeing drivers absolutely hammer and tong for 6 laps trying to see who's the quickest. It's a little bit more than just who's quickest on track, and it involves more tyre tactics and strategy. It's great to see.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the longer races. The sprint races are always just very chaotic, and if a mistake's made, there's really no recovery to be had. So I much prefer the longer races myself.
Well, the only thing I'll say about that is that I agree with you both. If I'm on the viewing side, and unfortunately Apex has gone off on turn 1 again, this time he hasn't been able to recover. That's a bit unfortunate. He just got a bit too wide there. But I was just about to say that, yeah, from a viewing perspective, it makes for great viewing. But when you're driving, there's nothing worse than not being able to negotiate a track for long periods of time and making
that is also true.
Mistake after mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, it can certainly be very, very taxing if you're not having a good race. It can be very frustrating to look at the lap counter and go, oh my god, I've still got like another half hour of this and I'm doing terribly. So if you're doing well, it's great. If you're doing terrible, it's not so good.
No, and it really does play on your mind, because you start to second guess things. You want to go faster and you do things that you wouldn't normally have done if you were having a normal race. So yeah, the more you come off, the more you try to make up for that. But I mean, most of the time, you're not going to be able to pull in like seconds. It's going to be tenths. So you try to drive too hard, and yeah, unfortunately things start to get away from you.
But looks like the gap's kind of stagnated to half a second there between Goat and Flossie, and it looks like Goat is going to try and keep that gap. I think he's probably going to manage that gap and then gain some advantage in the pit stop, as Madriski said earlier. Let's go and see how Mr. Consistency's doing. Yeah, he's done another 19. Nice, and he's right on the back of Corbin and Apex now. So the 3 Drive 25 SimSport cars are nose to tail, with Tombo already having done one of his pit stops. So advantage to Tombo.
We must have been reading each other's minds there, Viper. I jumped to Tombo about 3 seconds before you wanted to mention, or did mention him, so we are on the same wavelength. And yeah, unfortunately for Tombo, he's coming up with a little bit of traffic. Thankfully, they are his teammates, although Corbin and Apex are most likely not going to make it easy to get past them. So this could hamper Tombo's efforts, given that 24-second gap to the lead has about stayed the same for the last 6 or 7 laps or so.
Yep, and just going back through the mechanical situation and the fuel situation with the top guys, we've got Goat, who's just past the quarter tank, and he's done 33 laps. So theoretically, he could potentially get around with no fuel up, but I'd imagine he'd probably just want to be safe, and he's going to put a touch in.
Yeah, I think he might do a safety splash.
Yeah, but getting around 33 laps with 3/4 of a tank means that the quarter of a tank he's got left, he doesn't need much fuel. But looking at the other guys, they're well under the quarter. Flossie not so much, but both Scooter and Showman are just above half of a quarter, which means that then they're not going to be able to get around without putting in at least 2 or 3 laps in, which is going to cost them. How much does it take to put a litre in?
Well, you've got to add in the
3
animation
seconds
as well.
a litre.
Yeah, so I think it's 3 seconds a litre or 5 seconds a litre. It's one of those two numbers, and you've got the animation for the fuel. So if you only need a litre, the animation for the fuel really hurts, because that's about 1.5 seconds. But if you're taking a full tank, then that animation for the fuel to start flowing into your car is obviously a lot less impactful. So yeah, Goat and Flossie, I think, will be fairly close with each other on that info. So we might see a fight for the lead, and then a fight for the last podium step.
Now, I don't know what's happened at the back between the Drive 25 drivers, but Corbin's 3 seconds in front of Tombo. Tombo's just burnt a 1 second penalty, and Apex is 8 seconds behind Tombo. So I don't know what happened there, whether he's gone off of his own accord, or whether there was a coming together between the 3 cars, but we've missed that, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a 1:22.6 for Tombo on that last lap. That's going to hurt quite a bit. So, but he's back in clean air again. So.
Yep, and I think Apex is really starting to feel his tyres at the moment. They're just not playing with him. Yeah. Oh, he just keeps it on track.
Yeah, he's going to need to. He should be stopping now. Those worn softs, the new medium's going to be faster than his worn softs, so he really needs to get off those tyres and get onto them, those new fresh mediums.
He wasn't doing too bad. Like, he pulled on lap 29, he pulled a 19.9, so he's been able to, while he keeps it on track, he's been able to keep it pretty quick. But the problem's
he's also done a 34 and a 32.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. But the problem's been is that he hasn't been able to keep it on track. He's come off at least once in each of the last 5 laps.
Actually, seeing a bit of an interesting battle open up here between CJS Pup and Zuzu. So these guys are within a second of each other, and having done some relatively consistent laps here as well. Both Zoo and I think CJS Pup have been sort of mid to low 20s, and a couple of Zoo's laps there, a minute 20.74 and a minute 20.79. So incredibly close pair of laps, and yeah, just a couple of anomalies thrown in.
Yeah, we have to remember that Zoo has done his medium run.
Apex
and he's done his soft run. Yeah, very smart. So he's going to have to stop probably on the last lap and do a lap on hards, or a 3/4 of a lap on a hard tyre. So.
I personally find that one of the most difficult things to do is going from, even though they're a worn set of softs, yes, but going to a fresh set of hard tyres for last lap, I find that my rhythm is completely thrown off.
Yeah, I'd definitely prefer to get the hard done first. So,
unfortunately, 3 second penalty for Apex. He must have made a wide entry.
That's just salt in the wound, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
that's super unfortunate for Apex.
This is for Goat, fantastic. For the divisional championship, Goat is making every post a winner. He's at a 2.5 second lead now, pressing that tyre advantage in the latter half of this stint, and so it's really going to pay dividends in the back end.
we've got Scooter, Showman, Seckers, CCH all flashing now for fuel. So if it's not this lap, it most definitely will be the next lap. I can't see them going around for a third. So the pits are about to be filled.
Oh, Flossy, we just caught in the foreground there. Had a little bit of a wiggle under brakes and turn in. That would be a brown pants moment for me.
And Goat has now pushed nearly a 3-second gap out from Flossy in seconds. So, yeah.
And he's going to be able to go a couple of extra laps on these softs. So while those guys are pitting and then coming out on cold mediums, he's still going to be doing 19s and 20s. So
Flossy in, Scooter going around again.
Well, I'm just looking at Goat's lap times. 19.9, 19.6. I think he was playing us. I really do. I think he was just sitting there and just taking it easy, because he seems like he's just turned it on.
Playing that.
Yeah, put the hammer down and really pressing his advantage towards the end of the stint, which is a super clever and smart tactic. Let the guys do the donkey work out in front, save tyre and fuel, and then just hammer down at the end of the stint and break their hearts.
Because it really does come back to what you were saying before, Mid, with Goat's situational awareness and his ability to see exactly where he wants to place himself. And he knew when he had to get back past, I think it was Scooter or maybe Seckers for the lead at their second place at that point in time. He knew that's where he needed to be, and he was able to burn just that little bit more fuel, get that overtake done, to just keep in touch with his strategy. And my goodness, has it worked.
Yeah, and I think I might be making a suggestion to the Wheel-to-Wheel League. On Friday night we have the hot lap, and on Saturday morning we have the cool head, where Goat runs us through what he's thinking, what his strategy is, and giving everybody, at least in some of the other divisions, some kind of an insight as to it's not all about going fast.
So
well, it doesn't hurt that he's like supremely fast as well.
Well, that helps.
That helps as well. But I mean, you're absolutely right.
You definitely need the latter to make use of the first part of it here. So interestingly enough, we are seeing Flossy out for a lap and back in. So Tombo was right on his tail there, so almost a little bit held up. Flossy coming in off the hards and will obviously be finishing on the mediums, but Tombo, with these pit stops, has moved himself up into the podium places. So has jumped Showman, jumped Seckers, and jumped Flossy. He does have one more pit stop to go, am I correct?
Now
he's going to jump onto the mediums in the next lap or so, I would imagine.
I don't know whether you saw it or not, but I got a bad feeling that Flossy's going to come out with a 3-second penalty here.
Oh, I'm going to jump back on.
If you haven't practiced this pit lane entry, it will get you every time.
I really hope he doesn't.
Oh, no, it looks like he's missed it. I can't believe that.
He's okay.
That must have been on the line.
Interesting. So he's 56 seconds off of Goat now, and Goat still has 2 stops to do. Flossy has actually found himself in a decent position here, a couple of seconds ahead of Corbin, who shouldn't be too much of a challenge.
Goat just pops out a 19.4.
Oh, that's just absolutely crazy.
Just, for fun.
That's just rude now, isn't it? So Scooter using all of his fuel as well, jumped into the pits, lap 39. But Goat.
Now, I'd say based on that, Goat's got this lap and potentially another one before he comes into pit, because if he's doing 19.4s on that kind of tyre wear, it doesn't make sense to come in. If he can drag out at least another lap in those.
Maybe just had
he needs to
disconnect. So we just saw that he's dropped out of the road, unfortunately.
Tombo needs to clear Dragon as quickly as he can.
That's a shame with only 5 laps to go.
That is a big shame.
It's
so Dragon.
Tombo needs
really
to clear
be
Dragon. Oh no! Oh no!
Tombo! One of the first mistakes he's made all night.
That's horrible.
Oh no!
Oh, that's so unfortunate. And it was nothing.
He was in such a good position. He just got on the gas a little bit early out of that corner. Just a little bit of aero wash there from the back marker. Just these things are just so. It's so easy to just run a little bit wide
Yeah.
When you're following a car, yeah, and it just snaps around, snaps you around. He's still in a good position, but like he's still in he can still have a good finish. So
I'm expecting he's going to come in on this lap. His tyres look gone and his fuel. Potentially could make another lap, but after that incident, I think it'd be wise to probably get some mediums on there.
So I am going to throw a bit of a wild hat out here. I think Goat's going to potentially do 42 laps on his softs and come in for 1 lap on mediums and 1 lap on hards, or round the other way.
yeah, I think you're right. It's,
But he hit 39th lap and he did a 20.3 following his 19.4. It's unfathomable how he can pull this stuff off.
I don't know whether he's going to get another lap out of that tank though. It's looking like
he'll be in this lap, I think.
Yeah.
He'll do 2 laps on mediums and 1 lap on hards.
There we go, he's diving over.
There he is. Oh, no.
Oh, he's wide.
Oh, that's wide. Yeah.
I'm gonna try for a replay on that, see if I can get on board.
That'll be a penalty.
Yeah, you can't get multiple on the way in, can you? It's only the 1-3 seconds.
I don't think it. It's just a little splash of fuel by the looks of it.
That's going to be so touch and go from the onboard, but
that's definitely worse than Flossie's was. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Goat. This could be the difference here. He had a 3-second lead.
He didn't put any fuel in. He's got 3 litres of fuel. Oh no, he has 12 litres. He's got Yep. So hard. So
there it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
So
that's alright. He's got plenty of buffer. I think he'll be fine.
He has played the smarter move there for sure, and you can see how much understeer he's dealing with on a cold set of hards. And I think he's played the smarter move here: get the hards out of the way while everybody else catches up to him, and then put the mediums on at least a slightly faster tyre for the last couple of laps here. But that 3 seconds is going to bring Scooter right back onto his tail. So anything goes.
Does Scooter have another stop?
Yeah, I think he does. Tombo's just come in and made a stop as well. So Tombo's finished his stops as he comes out on mediums. 11 litres in the tank. So this will be interesting. Seckers goes past. Apex just behind Tombo at the moment. But this is going to be really interesting to see where they shake out. We've got a few guys that need to do one more stop.
Dragon, there's the back marker, so that's not for position.
Yeah, so on board with Scooter, he is rapidly closing that gap and has brought himself right back into contention.
Yeah, he's got it in there this time. No penalty for this one.
Don't want to compound that issue, but I feel he's going to be sweating now. Scooter having jumped right up close behind him for this last closing couple of laps, last pit stop.
Yeah, Scooter's got another pit stop to do, but so
is Showman, who's only 4 seconds behind him as well. So Scooter and Showman both have got to get onto their hard.
Flossie is the one we've got to watch. He's coming around now. Got to watch that gap.
So Flossie and Goat having completed their pit stops. On board with Flossie, Goat has jumped that gap is dropping 3 seconds.
Yeah, 3 seconds, but they're both on the medium. Flossie's are probably a little warmer.
And I think the couple extra laps that Goat was able to pull out is that sort of, less the 3 second penalty, is that sort of 6 or 7 second gap that is now down to about 3.5 to 4.
So those last couple of laps have really helped him recover from that penalty.
Yes, Corbin, I have to agree with you, mate. Corbin's made his way into the mix here. He's, if there's a battle between the top 4, Corbin's sitting in a fantastic position.
Yeah, and I could only imagine, and unfortunately only imagine, where Tombo would have been in this mix. He's lost a decent, I would say, 10, 12 seconds with that spin by the time he was able to get around and get back up to speed. And that would have put him just in place of Seckers, of Corbin. Possibly even in front of Flossie. Really, fighting for...
Would have been fighting for a podium.
Yeah.
Yep, so he did the 134, so he's lost himself 14 seconds.
There we go.
Yeah, which is a huge amount. You take 14 off the 38, he's down to 24, which is exactly where he was at before.
Yeah, and even then, 24 would have actually maybe even just put him in front of Goat. Goat is 23 seconds off of Scooter, who still has a pit stop to go.
Yeah, I have to agree.
What could have been?
Scooter and Showman are both going to have to come in this lap and put the hard tyre on and finish on the hard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that would stack up if there are mediums now. Yep.
And Scooter's got Dragon just in front of him, but it's not going to matter too much because he's coming to the pits now.
Oh, he's got it in there. That's it. No penalty. That's good.
He's done well.
Clean.
Yep.
And Showman should follow him behind him. Yep.
Lovely.
Oh, it's a difficult pit to get into. I'll tell you what, they are coming over that hill, trying to line it up. It's not as easy as it looks.
So 3 to 4%.
Yeah, it's very difficult.
Do you think they'll take fuel on board with Showman?
No.
No.
No, they won't need to take fuel. They took fuel, I think, at their previous stop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whew.
So Goat's coming down the main straight now. Are these guys underway yet? Yeah, he's cleared. Oh, Scooter's underway.
Scooter's out. Showman's just...
Has he cleared them? He's just cleared them by half a second.
No
half
way.
a second. Wow.
And Goat is on slightly warmer mediums compared to Scooter's hards as well. So the battle really is going to be here to see how well Scooter can keep it clean and tight while Flossie is ever so close and lurking in the background.
And gentlemen, I'll just draw your attention to the distance that Tombo is behind.
14 seconds.
0.3.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
That spin, unfortunately.
Yeah. It would have cost him a podium.
Yep.
Easy podium, if not a fight for the win. I think he honestly could have been in front of Goat, as he was held up with his teammates a little bit there, and then with that spin as well. Because he did have that separate incident before he span as well. So I honestly feel he would have been on for a race win.
Yep, it's unfortunate for Tombo. He would have been right up there. Could have been any one of the top 3 positions, but with that kind of a distance behind, he definitely would have been battling for pole.
Yeah.
It's Goat. Another great performance, another very smart race as he comes across the line. CP Motorsport for the win. Go, boys. Scooter following close behind. Flossie on the podium. Looks like Showman.
And Seckers.
Yep.
Well done, lads. And Tombo just coming across the line now. Bad luck, Tombo, bad luck.
It was right there for his taking, and unfortunately just snatched out of his hands in the closing laps of this race.
He just caught Dragon just at the wrong time, and it really cost him. Nothing Dragon did that was wrong or didn't. He didn't do anything. He didn't do anything to upset Tombo, but just catching that slower car at that time was just really unfortunate.
Pup 8th, Apex coming across now for 9th.
Yeah,
and
disappointing race there for Apex. I'm sure he's going to really be disappointed with that one.
Just some mistakes that unhinged him, and Dragon crossing the line now for 10th.
Well done, guys.
Yeah,
difficult
honestly,
one to get through.
Fantastic race at the end of the day, and again, great win, and ultimately master strategy by Goat. But I cannot help but feel for Tombo, and I really would have liked to see things unfold a little bit more in his favour, and really be challenging for that race win. He was there. He was honestly there.
Yeah, you don't... Go ahead, sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I wasn't quite sure what we were going to or expect in the race, but we had some really great competition for a large majority of the race there. That was great to watch.
Yeah, this car and track combination really do... they do pair up really well for some close, tight racing. It's been unfortunate for Tombo, but he will definitely be happy with his consistency. Just goes to show you don't need to be the fastest guy in the field to be competitive. So he was not far off the front pace, but still consistency is key, and I think that's what's going to win these races.
Yes, so that was round 15. Gentlemen, we have, I believe, what have we got? We've got 3 rounds or 4 rounds left?
3 rounds to go.
3 rounds in the season, yeah. It's come across very quick.
It has. We have Monza round in the Red Bulls coming up in 2 weeks, and we have the Super Enduro at St. Croix to finish off the season, and I in the Group 3s, but I'm not sure what track is next week. I've forgotten out of my head.
I'll just have a quick look.
Yeah, I think we're all in the same in the same
Watkins
boat
Glen.
Watkins Glen.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep. If there's ever a track I would erase from history, it'd be that track. Yeah. Whoever designed that thing needs to be put behind bars. Anyway.
Well, at least we know it's not going to rain, because it never rains in America in Gran Turismo. So the weather god is not going to be a factor in that round.
The weather god might be spiteful. We never know. He may have he or she may have said the weather is going to remain dry for the rest of the season, but who knows?
It's definitely not going to rain in Watkins Glen. We know that for sure.
Lovely effort tonight, lads. Thank you for joining me here in the comms box. It's been great doing a Enduro for Div 1 here with you gents tonight. Looking forward to the next time we can all align and our stars line up. On that note, I'm going to rerun some ads as we close out for the stream, and good luck, gentlemen, with your races.
Thanks, guys. It's a pleasure.
Good night, and thank you to everyone for their time and efforts, and we'll see you next week.
Good luck.
Scrub again with Easy Clean. Whether it's the shower or bath, grouting, patio, or even the kitchen sink, Easy Clean's advanced surface treatments restore, protect, and seal surfaces, reducing your cleaning time by up to 90%. With their lifetime guarantee, you can restore your surfaced areas to their original sparkling condition with effortless ease. Call 1300 146 136 or visit easyclean.com.au today. That's EZICLEEN.com.au. Easy Clean today for an easier clean tomorrow.
Lady. I am sporty,
outdoorsy,
outspoken. I am fashion.
I am old-fashioned.
What I am not
is the same. But none of us are.
We are all individuals with unique interests, needs, and goals.
We believe that everyone should have the right to live the life they want for themselves.
Whether it be exploring the world,
dog walking,
or binge watching their favorite show.
So instead of searching for the things that we do the same,
let's champion the things that set us apart.
Because we're not innovating for disabilities.
We're innovating for individuals.